Week 4. So the warm-up for week 4, so the pulse raiser, once again, is an agility warm-up, but this time it's a bit different as I'll be using a ladder. So they'll have to complete 5 different exercises on that ladder. So, and then repeat 5 times. So the first one is bunny hops, and then the next one is in and out of the ladder. So like jumping to the side, so in and out. And then the next one is fast feet between the ladders, and then the next time is side steps within the ladder, so moving to the side and then crossing the ladder. And then the last one is the grapevine through the ladder, so they have to cross their feet backwards and front whilst running sideways. This pulse-raising activity will get the blood pumping around the body so that it reduces the effect of the lactic acid system, as during the warm-up you would have already used this system, and so that when it gets to aerobic training, the risk of lactic acid building up is minimum because you've already used this energy system. This is especially useful for the rowing session on the Monday. But in turn, this agility warm-up also helps the muscles warm up so that they are more pliable for the plyometric session that is on the Tuesday. I'd like the client to do arm stretches. This is because of the more demanding plyometric session on the Tuesday, as they will be using their arms during this session. So I need to make sure that their arms are warm as well as their legs so that they don't get injured. So that's why I've increased the reps to 7 during the warm-up. The amount of reps are slightly higher than the previous warm-ups, and this is because I feel that this plyometric session is more demanding on the body, so I don't want them to get injured. With the plyometric session on the Tuesday, they will be using their legs as well. So I'd like them to do leg stretches such as squats, lunges, and that hamstring stretch where they sweep the floor and then it pulls on their hamstring. But the specific arm stretches I want them to do is for their shoulders. So they need to put one arm behind their head and pull on their elbow, and this should cause a stretch in their shoulders. So I like them to do that on both arms, and also to stretch their tricep. I'd like them to pull their arm across their chest and hold it. This should cause a stretch in their tricep. Whilst doing these stretches, they should be dynamic, so I'd like them to walk when they're doing them. For the cool down, I like them to row on a row machine at an RPE of 4 for 5 minutes. This not only adds variation, but the reason for the rowing machine is that they've been using their arm muscles during the plyometric session and also the rowing session on the Monday. So this allows not only the legs to stay warm and get the oxygenated blood around the body, but also it allows the arm muscles to stay warm as well and get rid of the waste product of carbon dioxide that are in those muscles as well, and also so the muscles don't seize up and become tense. In connection to this, the stretches after the pulse lower are the arm stretches they did in the warm-up, but this time they'll be sat down, and then they'll be doing leg stretches, especially on their hamstrings and quadriceps. So I'd like them to do 7 reps of those on each leg. The leg stretches consist of the hamstring one where they sit on the floor and try and touch their toes. This should pull a stretch in the hamstring. And also the quadricep one is where they might want to hold onto a wall and then lift their leg back and pull their leg, and then they should feel a stretch in their quadricep. In addition to the foam rolling on the Thursday session, I'd like them to also do foam rolling on the Tuesday session, as they will be doing a plyometric training session. So they'll be working anaerobically. So there should be a build-up of lactic acid, and the foam rolling helps break that down so that so it reduces the effects of DOMS. So on Monday's session, I have increased the duration again to keep increasing the VO2 max because I feel it's very important for a footballer, especially if there's extra time at the end of a match, because this allows the client to carry on playing at potentially full intensity and creating more opportunities for his team without fatiguing. But I've changed the machine back to the rowing machine to alternate the areas of muscles he trains. So he'll still be improving his power and muscular endurance in his legs. However, he'll also be improving his power and muscular endurance in his shoulders and arms. And this is important for his strength when he's on the ball, like trying to get past defenders. For the Tuesday session, I've added a plyometric session, but also kept the flexibility session. So I'd like my client to do the flexibility session before the plyometric session, because I feel that the flexibility session allows the muscles to increase in stretch, and he'll be at less risk of injury when doing the plyometric session, even though he has done a warm-up before. So the flexibility exercises are with resistance bands. So I've added arm and shoulder exercises, and I've increased the number of reps of each exercise. This is because of the plyometric session that involves the use of my client's arms, and therefore the muscles need to be pliable. So firstly, my client can complete the exercise, and most importantly, so they don't get injured while completing the exercise. So the arm exercises consist of, firstly, for the shoulders, holding the band out in front of you and stretching it. This will help improve the flexibility of your shoulders. This next exercise involves the use of a wall and not a resistance band. So you have to place your hand on the wall so your palms are touching the wall, and then lean slightly forward, keeping your hand and arm where it is, and you should feel a stretch in your arm. Next, for the leg stretches, with the resistance band, the hamstring stretches, so putting the band around the sole of your foot and then lifting your leg up straight, but then bending your knee slightly and then straightening the leg again. So this causes a stretch down the hamstring. Also, I've added a pike stretch, which is where you have to have the band above your head with your legs out straight, and then try and touch your chest to your knees. Another stretch is the squats sideways stretch. So this helps with your core, like we did in week 2. But also, by increasing the flexibility in stages, it prevents injury, but by also increasing the reps, allows the tendons and ligaments to be stretched more regularly and for longer to keep increasing the maximum stretch the ligaments and tendons have. So the pike stretch is the added exercise to this session. This is because, as well as stretching my client's hamstrings, this exercise stretches their lower back, which will aid them in reaching their target for improving their sit and reach score, which will consequently improve their sporting performance, as if they got off a header, for example, they are at less risk of causing an injury to their back, as they will be more mobile. So moving on to the plyometric session, I want my client to do 3 sets of 5 reps of each exercise with a 30-second rest between each set. But this needs to be at high intensity, so 80 to 90% of their maximum heart rate. So I'd like them to do jump squats, but then adding a football element within this. When they land, they have to side foot volley a ball back to their partner. Next, I'd like them to do box jumps. Then finally, I'd like them to do chest passes against a wall with a medicine ball, so it's a weighted ball. The reason why I've chosen to do a plyometric training session is because this will improve the client's power in their legs, and I've specifically chosen to improve the power in his legs because this will not only help reach their target of improving their score in the vertical jump test, but it will also improve their success rate of winning headers. This is because by improving his power in his legs, he can generate a more forceful contraction in his legs, which will enable him to jump higher to win headers and create opportunities for his team. I have adapted an exercise to relate it to football so that the client can rehearse their neuromuscular pathways of movement, so passing the ball back to their teammate so that they are prepared for a game situation. I have added plyometric training to also help improve the muscular strength and power within my client's shoulders and arms. This is purely so that they have the strength to stand their ground from other players if they are trying to protect the ball or trying to get past a defender with the ball. I've given a recovery day of swimming on a Wednesday, as there is more impact put on my client's joints due to the extreme plyometric session the day before. The swimming allows the client to reduce the effects of DOMS by doing exercise, but the impact placed on the client's joints will be reduced. So therefore not putting too much strain on my client's joints to reduce the risk of injury. For Thursday's session, I've taken out the plyometric session because I've added a more physically demanding one on the Tuesday with more exercises. So I do not want to overtrain my client. However, the client is still going to do interval training to improve their speed. I have changed the distance the client has to run, but then I have changed the time they have to recover. So they have longer to recover, but the distance they have to run is longer. So they have 40 seconds to recover, and they are sprinting 100 metres, 50 there and 50 back. They will adapt to the change of time they have to recover, and as this adaptation takes place, they will find it easier to restore the ATP-PC stores so they have more energy the next time they sprint. In addition to this, I've also added a football so that they run with this, and so this would be more realistic to a game situation.